Each and every one of us has an unlimited inner wellspring of spiritual power. You have the ability to transform, create, and heal anything upon which you set your heart and mind. Join me, Sarah Hall, as we learn how to uplift all aspects of your life through spiritual empowerment. Enjoy weekly guided meditations, spiritual discussions on a multitude of topics, and a chance to call in to receive channeled messages from the angels on your spiritual journey. I'm Sarah Hall, and this is Through the Eyes of the Angels.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Bring Me to Life Radio today. I always feel so honored and grateful to be able to connect with all of you. Today, I'm going to be sharing the angels' messages on the topic of boundaries. Boundaries are so important and relevant, particularly to those of us who are consciously on a spiritual path. So important, in fact, that I've experienced the angelic teachers that I worked with on my path referring to the practice of holding boundaries as a spiritual practice. Creating and upholding loving, healthy boundaries is a spiritual practice with really just as much importance as practices like meditation or prayer. You see, boundaries are crucial in helping us create a lifestyle and an overall spiritual vibrational resonance that helps us hold space for love's presence. One thing that we have all experienced on this human journey is the presence of ego, the unfriendly advisor, if you will, who is the complex, very psychologically nuanced personification of fear and separation. This ego is present in the collective human psyche and makes its appearance into the minds of each individual. All human beings must learn, therefore, how to face and relate with the ego such that we can hopefully join together in one of our collective spiritual purposes, which is to transcend it, to transcend the ego or the mind of fear, which is to transcend suffering and to make of this planet, this physical realm that we live in, a paradise, a manifestation of heaven. And yes, this world and collective human state we live in its current state of evolution, is one that requires conscious effort on our part in order to be able to identify and transcend that which is of fear and therefore not of love. The angels wish to remind us that love is our true identity. The universal force that human beings named love is in truth the experience of our spiritual origin. It is the experience of unity. We are one unified being. We human beings and all of the universe combined, we are one divine, holy mind. Love is the experience of our functioning in a divine state of unity that allows us to realize our truth and origin. We are all God, waking up to realize itself in time. And it's also worth mentioning that there is also a realm completely outside of time, the eternal light that we travel to and from during death and birth, in which this has all already happened, in which that which we call God or Source, which includes all of us, is one unified, enlightened, whole, and perfect conscious miracle. It is from that unity, that pure spiritual source, that the angels and descended masters teach us, guide us, and heal us. We come from it and we return to it. And for whatever reason, this dimension we live in here is one that holds the duality of both suffering and heaven, shadow and light. And as powerful spiritual creators, each soul that is born into the human story holds the same intention: to wake up, to become and embody all that is in this dual paradigm, the ego, fear, mind included, and then to learn to burn our eternal light so brightly that love will flow unhindered and unlimited everywhere and in everything. Now, if you've listened to me share the angels' messages before, you have likely heard me share the message that soul's nature is infinite expansion. Just as we can envision the Big Bang birthing a universe and allowing all things to expand out, the soul too, for we are all pieces of the collective soul, simply expands. Love is the nature and substance of our soul, and it expands because its ultimate expression is pure unity. It is the unification of all things, so it expands out to touch and embody all things. Now, why, you might be wondering, are we receiving messages about unity, the very concept of which denotes a state of boundarylessness, in a transcendence of boundaries, in a discussion on boundaries? Well, because according to the angels, in order to create truly healthy boundaries that will empower us to be liberated from the ego and experience greater expanses of love in our lives, we must first understand that we are all one, and that in truth there is nothing that separates us. This is something of what we might call a divine paradox. We get a lot of these here on the dual earth paradigm because we're experiencing a temporary duality in an eternally non-dual collective oversoul. But trust me, these paradoxes aren't as confusing as they seem. So let's break it down a little bit. Ego and suffering seem to exist here for whatever temporary amount of time. And the purpose of the boundaries that we must create and live by is to help hold space for love, to claim conscious, mental real estate in the name of light and unity. So, how do we create healthy boundaries then? We first create them within ourselves. We create a discipline of focus upon love that we practice sustaining purely within every living conscious moment. This means identifying where the presence of ego or fear is influencing your outlook, thoughts, feelings, and actions, and then working to discipline your focus. This means practicing non-attachment and non-judgment when you notice ego-based thoughts directing the course of your life. To do this will ensure that your life holds an empowered potential to be a channel of love. Love expanding out unhindered and unlimited by the illusions of ego. This means having a conscious and highly aware relationship with yourself, observing and seeking to understand the thoughts and feelings that you hold both in your everyday consciousness as well as in your deep psyche, and working to heal and cleanse the effects of fear and ego so that love may flow as it was always intended to do at every level of your being. The result of making such a thing your lifelong practice is greater happiness, well-being, fulfillment, and creative power. Because when love flows unhindered and its space within your life is protected from fear's illusions, you will live in a consciously realized unity with all. the more greatly and intentionally you channel this, the more greatly and intentionally you will channel the essence of the divine. Now, boundaries are only necessary for those with egos. And the bigger the ego, the bigger the need for boundaries, so that the light of love does not seemingly go out of our focus and experience. When we ourselves find that we're caught up in the throes of a fear-based experience, we can highly benefit from putting the ego in check with some healthy boundaries. And yes, even those on a spiritual path will, of course, face ego-based thoughts and feelings. For example, let's say that you were fired from a job that you enjoyed and relied upon for financial stability. And let's say, normal human psychological reaction here, you begin to feel angry. And that anger isn't the kind of anger that pops in for a second, then fizzles out once you change your focus, because the anger is over an issue that seems so central and important to your life and identity that it becomes an overarching backdrop of your life for several weeks. This constant companion of maybe that anger, perhaps. As you process your feelings about losing your job and face the potentially scary new reality of looking for a new job and a new way to support yourself or your family. Boundaries with your own anger, fear, and ego can be your salvation here, can be your miracle. And you implement boundaries within yourself like this. Number 1, identify and consciously affirm that the anger, discord, or fear are products of the ego. And because they are products of the ego, they are based in illusion, on temporary, passing things that are not necessarily real. So, for example, you might remind yourself that your job was not a reflection of your identity or personal worth in this world. You might remind yourself that your anger and stress are only coming from a fear, and that in the divine ultimate truth, there is nothing to fear. In this way, you are stepping out of identifying with the ego. You are drawing a distinction between your true self and the fear-based feelings that you want to discipline because they want to run amok in your consciousness. In this way, you have now identified where a boundary is needed. So be conscious, be observant, be aware. Number 2, now that you have identified where the boundary is needed and started to draw that line in the sand, act out that boundary by responding to suffering with compassion and love. You see, love is always the answer to suffering, always the answer to ego. It never helps anyone to respond to suffering by judging or guilting ourselves into not feeling the way that we feel. That's not going to make that anger go away. When we feel anything negative, what we're really suffering from is fear. We're just scared. And you comfort fear with compassion and love. We have a great example of this in the stories of the life of the ascended master, Jesus, or Yeshua, where people brought before him this, again, fallen woman who had seemingly crossed the cultural boundaries. And those boundaries, they believed, were there to protect people from the seemingly suffering or fear-based parts of humanity that they feared. So they deemed that because she had crossed this boundary that had seemingly been in place to protect the people from suffering, that they needed to enforce an even stronger boundary with her. So they brought this woman before the teacher, asking him to judge her, to judge and condemn really this aspect of our humanness that holds the capacity to create suffering. And what was this enlightened master's response? He responded with compassion, love, forgiveness. He radiated such powerful, transcendent, unlimited love that one by one, a simple phrase from him, let the one who never sinned throw the first stone. They wanted to throw rocks at her until she died. That one by one, this single phrase and the transcendent compassion and love that had radiated from this human being caused every single accuser to drop their stones and to walk away. This is how we set healthy boundaries. We do not do it with condemnation, judgment, violence, anger, fear, or any of that. We do it with compassion. And compassion is a state of understanding and knowingness that radiates from pure love. When you see ego's presence in your mind, radiate love and understanding. Be compassionate, patient, and loving with yourself until the love has melted away all of the fear and there is no longer a reason to feel so angry or afraid. Now, step 3. Now that you have both identified and enacted the boundary, turn your attention back to the highest power that exists in this universe. Remind yourself that this thing we call God is an intelligence that permeates all of existence and that there is thus an order, harmony, and benevolence to the flow of life. Surrender to the divine, to the source of all love, and trust it. Fall into deep trust such that you hold no part of your consciousness back and that you immerse all that is you in love, love, love. For when we radiate the light of love, ego and darkness have no choice but to disappear. You do not need to fight with reality in order to protect yourself against suffering. You only need to radiate love as purely as you can possibly practice doing it. And you'll find that effort and focus upon boundaries is needed less and less because your love has cleansed all that you meet of ego. And I really think that the ascended master Yeshua is so important and celebrated a figure because he actually really mastered doing that. His love was so big that it cleansed every bit of ego and fear it touched. His love didn't make him exempt from ever having to witness or face human suffering, anger, greed, narcissism, fear, you name it. It did something better. It met those things and transformed them into love. The love was a light so bright that all of those dark things transformed into light themselves when they came near it. And we all have the choice and capacity to do the same thing. And even though it might seem like a challenge to master such a thing, we can take comfort in knowing that we don't do it alone. When we call upon the eternal light, upon God, the angels, the ascended masters, or the higher part of our own souls, whatever you prefer, we unite with the most powerful force in the universe. We unite with the only lasting, eternal thing in existence, which has the power to transcend all things. We unite with divine love. So practice focusing your consciousness on that eternal divine light and source of love, and you'll naturally begin to channel it in all that you do. And watch it create miracles. As it transforms everything it touches, it's just what it does. So those are the 3 steps to practicing boundaries. 1, identify. 2, enact. 3, surrender to God. Now, the reason the angels guided me to communicate on the necessity of boundaries within ourselves first is because those inner boundaries can beautifully equip us to enact healthy outer boundaries. Boundaries are very healing and helpful in our relationship with the outer world. First, they help us to create lifestyles that allow us to live up to our values, dreams, and ideals. For example, we often need boundaries with our behavioral patterns. If we find ourselves, let's say, consuming food, beverages, or other substances that aren't healthy for us, we need to create a boundary in our own behavior. Addictions are manifestations of the ego's illusion of disempowerment. When we suffer under strong beliefs based in disempowerment, some of us might develop addictions. So holding an inner boundary will help you to avoid feeling disempowered in the first place, and holding an outer boundary will help you to practice transcending the behavior pattern of addiction. And I know that it sounds like an overly simplified explanation of addiction, but since we could really devote an entire episode to that topic, I'll just leave it at that for now. Another extremely common area where most of us would benefit very highly from practicing boundaries lies in our relationship with consumerism. We live in a modern world in which we are inundated by experiences of instant gratification. We want a pizza, we tell Siri or Alexa to order one from the closest restaurant, and in just a few moments it will appear on our doorstep. We want distraction or entertainment. All we need to do is reach in our pockets, look at our phones, and start scrolling through social media. But the thing about programming our minds to expect instant gratification is that it can sometimes create dissonance in our relationship with the earth and with ourselves. For example, many people have an attachment to instant gratification and consumerism that is so strong that they'll purchase something that may have been manufactured, let's say, by human beings who are treated like slaves, or that have created terrible pillaging and poisoning of our beloved natural environment. And they don't buy into these things because they're bad people. You asked any one of those people, they'd probably say, yes, save the rainforests. Yes, fair labor, fair treatment of all human beings. They only do it because they've allowed themselves to be conditioned by their own psychological patterns to the extent that they choose convenience over their own values. So creating boundaries within the self might help us cultivate a life in which we're not trapped in the extremely limiting pattern of self-gratification, instant gratification, which in turn empowers us to hold boundaries and standards with regard to what we buy, consume, and spend our time doing. And as the boundaries in this area of life hold and expand to match your truest love-based values and dreams, you'll likely find that you have more time and energy to do things that uplift you and empower joyful experiences of creativity. Boundaries are necessary tools right now in liberating each individual from patterns that would limit our joy, love, and creativity. So this brings us to the next natural area in which we must practice holding boundaries with other people and their egos. When ego manifests in someone else and harmful or abusive behavior comes out, we must respond in the same way that we would respond when we notice ego within ourselves. And the better you are at identifying ego within yourself first, the better you'll be at noticing it compassionately when it appears in others. Because sometimes ego is loud and unmistakable, but at other times it's very, very subtle and even might try to masquerade as goodness. So the more familiar you are with holding space for love within your own inner discipline, the more your mind will be clear in recognizing what is and isn't real love in others' treatment of you and others' behaviors as well. So again, first, we identify where love is not present in another, and thus identify where a boundary is needed. Next, step 2, enact that boundary. This practice will be unique and based upon the relationship that you're in, depending on the situation. If the relationship wherein the boundary is needed is with someone very close to you, for example, such as your husband, your wife, your child, then the boundary might involve communicating with that person, might involve trying to teach them, trying to learn from them, and trying to come to a loving, compassionate agreement, might involve forgiveness. If the relationship is with someone who is more distant to you, someone with whom you are not committed in a love agreement, such as a stranger you meet in passing or an acquaintance in your social circle, then you might enact the boundary simply by walking away and wishing them well and sending them forgiveness from afar. And it's important to choose wisely and to choose based on self-love first in these situations. Because while in every situation you can enter a state of pure spiritual forgiveness, compassion, and acceptance of others, this does not necessarily mean that in every situation you're going to come to a mutual agreement with the other person. So ask yourself, if I love myself and I am prioritizing my self-love, peace, and love-based values, would I choose to engage in a confrontation with this person, or would I walk away? Because it's not your responsibility to teach or tame anyone else's ego but your own. Healthy boundaries involve you refraining from overstepping, oversharing, or taking on over responsibility for making the other person see your point of view. Healthy boundaries detach from that with the understanding that if you are resonating love in your own best and purest way, then either people will resonate with you and be a harmonious part of your life, or they won't resonate with you and you'll perhaps go on different paths so that love can continue to expand out unhindered in your life according to your own resonant value. The angels would like to also highlight that yes, sometimes when we hold boundaries and standards in the name of providing a space for love, that this can mean that we have to say goodbye to people that we really love, or people with whom we had been intimately entangled. If a romantic partner or family member, for example, cannot respect your boundaries, perhaps in a way that directly hurts you or others, or limits your capability to be healthy and at peace, then it is healthy and harmonious to walk away. Do not worry that in these situations you are causing more grief and separation in the world. Rather, the angels invite you to remember that your boundary is made of love, and that even tough love can only create a greater possibility for more love. So perhaps your saying goodbye will be the one wake-up call that the other person finally needed in order to change their lives and get healthier themselves. But in the end, remember, their spiritual destiny is not your responsibility. Stay on your own journey and trust that when you're fully focused on radiating your own love, that is when you have the power to be the most effective in the world. That is when you have the power to become a healer, a teacher, or a beacon of light, in such a way that you might, yes, influence someone else when you radiate your own light as an example. Now, I'd like to add one last important point. Many of you ask me questions about how to protect your energy body, how to avoid developing etheric cords or psychic attack that might drain you. First, I invite you to call upon Archangel Michael, who is the protector of love, the absolute divine master of boundaries. Or, of course, you can call upon any other higher being with whom you feel aligned, because all angels and descended masters radiate the same light. And what I have learned from working with Archangel Michael in my healing work over many years is that when we practice inner and outer boundaries at the level of our own mind, our thoughts, beliefs, then behaviors, and then social interactions, then we naturally become impervious to attracting etheric cords or psychic attack in the spiritual energy body. This is because when we practice true, healthy spiritual boundaries, we enter into a spiritual resonance wherein these lower attachments simply aren't a match for you anymore. If you meet them, they roll off of you like water off a duck's back, and they might even transform into something different, something more love-based in your presence. So With that in mind, let's come together for a guided meditation with Archangel Michael to place some beautiful, healing, uplifting light around you right now. So go ahead and take a moment to relax and get comfy as the following messages play, and then we will begin.
Hi, Sarah Hall here. I'm offering you a wonderful new opportunity to expose your business to my audience. Email the Bring Me to Life team at ads@sarahhall.com and let us know if you'd be interested in this special offer. You can feel great about supporting a message you believe in while bringing your own services to light. Again, email us at ads@sarahhall.com for more details.
Begin by closing your eyes and deepening and lengthening your breaths. Allow your body to relax and your mind to become very still. Simply restfully observing all that moves through you. Observing your heartbeat, your breath, your body, any thoughts, any feelings. Visualize as Archangel Michael steps forward and begins to channel a beautiful white light into your energy body now. Breathe deeply, inhaling the white light into every cell of your body, allowing the white light to merge with and surround every thought, memory, and feeling within your consciousness. Notice as this intelligent, healing light naturally begins to dissolve any past feelings of tension or discord. Noticing that all that is not one with love and light easily dissolves and becomes light. Breathe and allow your peace to expand in this state. Noticing the light shining and cleansing so powerfully that it begins to flow outside of your body, creating a healing cocoon around you. That healing cocoon grows thick and bright and begins to shine out to fill the space that you are in, filling the whole room with pure, cleansing, unifying light. Notice that in this light, every aspect of your life is contained. Every relationship, every activity, every value, concern. Watch as the light bathes every aspect of your life. Watching as anything that had not been harmonious in your life simply falls into place. the healing light creating bridges of unification and love between you and every other person you know, every activity or focus that you spend your time and energy upon. Watch as everything unifies in the light, and as the angels begin to help you understand what changes might be needed in your life. Simply be aware, compassionately and lovingly observing yourself as the light imbues all. Archangel Michael is now showing us the image of a beautiful golden orb of light. And you can imagine that orb of light floating just above your head. This orb of light is the doorway into a frequency of consciousness that represents the highest human potential. Pure compassion and love radiates from this golden energy that flows down into your energy body now. This consciousness is what we might call Christ or Buddha consciousness. Enlightened, unified compassion. With your next deep inhale, draw this beautiful golden light into your being, holding the intention to allow yourself to merge with your highest human potential, which is truly unlimited. As you breathe this golden light in, it is like your prayer, your intention to embody your true divine nature now. Breathe the light in and feel as you begin to float up into it. Beautiful white and golden energy radiating out into all areas of your life, into the heart of every human being, and then expanding out to wrap around Mother Earth, touching every living being, permeating our realm with the purity of our highest human potential for love. We affirm and pray that this is our human destiny, that this love, personified in all that is earthly, is our birthright. As you breathe this gold and white light into your heart, Archangel Michael simply invites you to resonate the following truth with your inner spiritual voice. I am love. Breathe that love into your body, feeling the golden light moving from above, moving out from the heart chakra, filling every cell of the physical body, And then once again, resonate the truth. I am love. When you are ready, you may gently take your next deep breath. And as you exhale, gently shifting back into the waking world as you open your eyes and return, keeping this little gift from the spirit world, this beautiful glow of light and connectedness. And now is our time to take your calls, texts, and chat requests for angel readings. So if you haven't yet called or submitted your reading request, you can do so via phone at 240-979-6366. Again, that's 240-979-6366. Or you can submit your reading request in the Bring Me to Life chat room. Today, I'm going to be working with the Sacred Traveler Oracle by Denise Linn. So let's go ahead and see who our first reading will be for. We've got plenty of you lined up. Okay, so let's start with Erin. Erin says, I have been working on empowering myself to make healthy eating choices, body movement, lessening fear, and grounding myself each day. What messages do the angels have for me? Erin, thank you so much for your question. It's actually so relevant given the theme, the topic of the day on boundaries, because you are a shining, beautiful example of doing exactly that. You're making these healthy choices and you're shifting your lifestyle. So one thing that I'm hearing right away is your angels telling us that patience is needed. Patience is needed for your body at this time. They're showing us that with the changes that you're making, with whatever's going on, your body is actually making more inner changes than you might realize at a very, very deep level, which I love. They're showing us a few different things. First of all, your body is incredibly intelligent, and it knows that as a result of you making these beautiful changes, it has the opportunity to work on some detox. The angels are showing me detox that is occurring at the level of the liver first, and they're showing it spreading to all of the other organs of elimination, creating a beautiful cleanse, and even happily, positively influencing your microbiome, which is the friendly little microflora and fauna that help make up our health in our body. So they're showing us that there are shifts going on at that level. One thing that they're showing us is that you'd be on the right track with regard to shifting your relationship with sugar. I am feeling right away as I tune into your energy that fruit is beautiful. Fruit is great for you. Eat as much of it as you absolutely want. It's more processed sugar that your body is showing us it wants to have somewhat of a break from whenever it can. They're also showing us a shift in the grains and carbohydrates that enter into your body, showing us that you get really, really great results, it looks like, from choosing really clean, pure, easy to digest kinds of grains, such as, quinoa or millet or something like this in their whole forms. Beautiful, beautiful changes I'm seeing that the body wanting to make as a result of doing things like that. The next thing that they're showing us is that as a result of all of that detox that the body's naturally doing, another one of the subtle, deeper level changes that is going on for your body is a shift in the endocrine system. Yes, yes, yes. So now we've moved from the angels showing me a picture of your liver to them showing me a little map of your endocrine system, including all of the reproductive organs, the adrenals, and so forth. They're showing us the whole system from head to toe. And they're showing us just a sense that the vibration is ready to upgrade, meaning that the hormones, including stress hormones even, that the body would normally produce are shifting their flow to become more harmonious than ever before. So that's going to, right off the bat, change your energy levels throughout the day. It looks like even eventually change your metabolism, change your overall mood, regulate your mood. Everything feels like it's improving. But since there are such big foundational changes that your body is working on making in all of this, it means that it takes a little bit of time, and we need to be very, very beautifully, lovingly patient and compassionate with your body and even with your mindset every step of the way, because the angels want you to know that it definitely takes a loving discipline of focusing on compassion and patient with ourselves to make changes like this. Because sometimes that little unfriendly advisor wants to come in and, disrupt the healthy changes that we want to make. And that's okay. We all have that part of ourselves, and we don't get anywhere by beating ourselves up or shaming that part of ourselves. We make progress by loving ourselves. And yes, even loving that, not so friendly part of ourselves that might, want to fall back into an older habit or might want to get frustrated with ourselves. Love that part of yourself. Understand it with loving compassion and patience, and you are going to be making your goals. But think of yourself as being on a very long-term path, and being on a path as well at a spiritual and emotional level that is allowing you to forge a deeper and more powerful relationship with yourself. And in that more powerful, close, open relationship with yourself, there's greater self-love that is actually moving through for you. So 2 cards showed up. I pulled 2 cards, and they're showing us one, the Discovering Truth card. So this is showing us that the journey of health that you're on right now is helping you to discover a deeper truth. Again, self-love is at the core of this spiritual lesson that's here in this opportunity, this goal that you've set for yourself. The next card is surrendering to the journey, surrendering to the journey. So this says release over control, release over pressuring yourself, and instead get into harmony and into sync with the body by listening to what it has to say, listening to what even your heart and emotions have to say, and being like a loving, guiding, compassionate parent with that part of yourself, negotiating a way forward that is loving, nurturing, gentle, and kind. And you will reach your goal, but be on a long-term path with all of this, because they're showing us an overall lifestyle change that has a beautiful impact for life, and that doesn't make you feel deprived, by the way, just because it's a long-term change. It feels amazing. So Godspeed, Erin, on your path. That's going to be wonderful. Okay, let's see. It looks like we have a caller on the line. Hi, caller. If you could just share your name and let us know what your question is for the angels. I'm not sure if our connection is actually working right now. We've been having a little bit of tech stuff going on, and it doesn't seem like we're able to make the connection with our caller all the right way right now. Let's troubleshoot this just for a moment so that we can see if we can try to get through with our caller so that they're connected to us and we can hear everything. And you know what? While we're working on that, what I'll do is I'll just real quick take another call. Let's just go ahead and see if there's one of the readings from the chat or the text that is going to be real quick. Oh, I love this one. Okay. Here is a request coming in from Bethany. Bethany says, I was curious to ask who my guardian angels are and if they have a message for me. All right, beautiful. Thank you, Bethany, so much. Okay, I just looked at the energy around you, and you actually have 7 angels who are very, very strong around you. Most of us have more than one guardian angel who works with us all the time. A lot of times we'll have maybe 1 or 2 who are really, really primary and close with us. But you, my dear, have a full 7 who stand around you. I'd like to just kind of listen in and see if we can get the name of one of the primary ones that we are connecting with here. Okay, there is a name coming through very, very strong. I'm hearing Gregory coming forward first, very, very strong. I'm feeling an angelic presence that has this deep, beautiful forest green color, beautiful, beautiful energy radiating out. And this is someone who looks as if they actually protect you in many, many ways. They show us that they work with you in your social life, especially helping to cleanse away any social pressure or past social anxiety that might have been there at any point in life, and help you to develop beautiful relationships with others. This is actually also a very intellectual angel who shows us that you too are very intellectual and unique in your mental outlook and the way that you kind of compute information, very gifted in that. And that's beautiful. So this angel watches over that aspect of you. Okay. Okay. You've got another a very close guardian angel who has a very beautiful, very interesting name. I'm hearing the name Jude or Judiah, but Jude for short, if you'd like, but Jude of Grace. So it's like almost like there's a first and last name, Jude Grace. So this guardian angel is very, very loving and nurturing, has a huge heart, and protects your big heart. She's telling us that you are an empath. Absolutely an empath. That means that you take on feelings of other people, and that you're also likely very emotionally intelligent. You're highly sensitive to feeling. And this angel protects that. The rest of your entourage all protect and work on various different little specific purposes for you. And they're just sending their love. And it's amazing we've got 7 because they all have different colors. It's as if there's this beautiful rainbow of energy that's shining around you from all of these different angels. And their collective message to you, essentially, Bethany, is you got this special spiritual sensitivity. We help to guard and guide that. We help you to understand that. And we're helping you to use that sensitivity to fulfill your life purpose. So they send you all of their love, and that's absolutely beautiful. It looks like our tech crew is still working on the call, working on trying to just see if we can fix whatever little glitchy things were kind of going on with that a moment ago. So while that is still going on, I'm just going to, and you guys, if you callers are on the line, you can hang on. Don't worry about it. We'll make sure that we try and get to you today, or you can of course add your request in on the chat room too, just to double check. But let's go to another reading and see what the angels would like us to do next. Okay, let's see. All right, we have a request from Eric. Eric says, I have noticed many synchronicities and signs from the angels over the last several weeks. I have made positive changes in my life in regards to my health and my life's purpose. I was wondering if I'm on the right path in regards to my life purpose. Also, I'm wondering about my current relationship. Is it time to move on? Thank you so much. Light and love. Oh, light and love to you too, Eric. I'm so glad that you messaged us today here. We really have some great messages for you. I can feel your angels around you very, very, very strong. First of all, they want you to know that your whole life is going through an upgrade right now. They're showing us that you are upgrading so that you can live with even higher, more expanded spiritual sensitivity. And in that higher spiritual sensitivity, you have a higher understanding and connection or relationship with the energy of love, as we were kind of discussing in our talk today. And the angels want you to know that, yes, that's going to naturally require some changes in your life, both in your lifestyle and yes, also in relationships as well, some changes, some shifts. So the first thing that the angels are showing us is your health and life's purpose. Let's just tune into the energy here. Okay, so what I'm seeing right away is absolutely yes. They're really focusing especially first on the health-related stuff. You've got a little applause, a little bravo around you from your chorus of angels who work with you. And they're saying you are very much on the right track with regard to making these changes around health. The reason why is because grounding is important for you. In fact, I just turned over a card from our Oracle deck, and it's the grounding card. So what this represents essentially is that you've been guided to make health changes so that you can ground into your body and ground your power, your spiritual power, as well as your creative intentions into your physical life, and to be more effective and to make those physical changes, or those physical manifestations happen, to make your dreams come true by way of being healthier, more alert, more capable, more disciplined, more energized, more focused, all of those things. So your health really is like a foundation to making your spiritual purpose would kind of work, and in this powerful way that we're kind of looking at here. So what the angels would like to do next is they're having me pull a card with regard to your life's purpose, just so we can get a little bit more detail on this. Oh, I love this. Okay, the card that came is the Breaking Trail card. Breaking Trail. So what this card represents is a breakthrough. A breakthrough is at hand. You are making a breakthrough in that you'll soon receive more traction. You'll soon be able to move forward a little bit more easily with regard to your work on your spiritual path. So the angels are showing us that You'll want to be really patient with yourself, knowing that sometimes when we're breaking trail or we're just starting a new path, that it requires a lot of foundational work, a lot of first steps. So really focus on being very patient, knowing that taking those first steps can take some time and energy, but yes, you're generally very much on the right track. With regard to your relationship, what I'm seeing right now is a difference in vibration and a little bit of a difference in values. But the angels want us to know that there seems to be some work that is needed in this relationship before you would consider moving on. They're showing us that communication is important first. So talk to your loved one. It feels like this is a very important thing to do. It's time to see whether or not your loved one is willing to get on the same page as you, willing to be very emotionally honest with you about what's going on, and for both of you to be very honest with what your emotional needs are and what your values are and what vibrational standard it is that you hope to uphold together, or that you hope to uphold in your life in general, and thereby, be able to create it in a partnership. So have that conversation first. It's really, really important. It's time to do just a little bit more evaluating and a little bit more communicating about who you are without having your defenses, either yours or your partner's, up too high. Call on the angels to help both of you to clear any of those defenses that might cause us to go into a place where it's tough to talk from a place of love. They'll help you to pick out the right words to do that, because that work is needed before you'd even have closure, even if you did, decide to move on, whether you decide to move on or whether you decide to stay and form a new relationship. Because it feels like there is an upgrade that's needed. It feels like this old relationship is going to end, and whether you stay in the relationship with the same person and start a new one, found a new chapter, or whether you really, evaluate and decide that it is time to move on, either way, it's a rebirth. There's a big upgrade happening. So stick with it. Be patient with the path ahead. It's not time for impulsive knee-jerk moves. It's more time for patiently looking at things, doing a little shadow work together, talking, and making the conversation really, really centered on love and honesty, and what is needed. And you will know what to do, my dear. So I'm sending you all kinds of love, prayer, and support for that. It looks like we have our caller on now. So let's go ahead and see if we've got things fixed up. Hi, caller. You are on the air. If you could just again introduce your name and let us know your question for today.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much for taking my call. My name's Beth.
Hi, Beth.
I am hi, it's great to be here. Thanks for taking my call. I'm in a time of transition. I've been doing a whole lot of trauma release and healing on multiple levels for a number of months now, actually even years now, but it's been pretty intense the last few months. And I'm just wondering what the angels want me to know as I continue this healing path, or anything else that comes up from them. Thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, so this is amazing. Right away, I'm tuning into your energy and I'm getting goosebumps. I call them angel bumps sometimes, because the power feels really strong. You have been doing some amazing work on yourself, and you've actually been accelerating really fast lately. This is the feeling that I'm getting. The angels are showing us incredible lessons that you've been learning, incredible realizations that you've been able to kind of validate and understand about yourself and about the way that your psyche has been working and responding based on the traumas that you've experienced in your life. You've been doing some incredible work. You are a light worker, and this is the definition of light work, to do this stuff. So they congratulate you, first of all, and want you to know that you are beautifully and powerfully on the right track. Now, they would like to add something to this journey for you. They want you to know something that might sound very simple, but is actually very true. That anytime we're working to reverse trauma, to clear a pattern of learned and ingrained fear-based responses in the psyche, in the spirit, in the energy body, it gets everywhere. Anytime we do that, the key to actually healing it quite miraculously, in fact, maybe more quickly than we would imagine, is by focusing on the love that comes from source. And again, I know that might sound simple, but the angels want you to know that it's very true. So if you can find a practice of Okay, they're saying nightly prayer or nightly meditation. And you can do this by, repeating prayers, repeatedly, or visualizing, source or a higher being or the angels, and reaching out to them and meditating upon reaching out to them, and just feeling yourself bathing on their energy, and feeling yourself just with undivided attention, letting that energy, flow through you. That this naturally actually starts to rewire the brain. This kind of meditative, mindful, powerful work. And it does so at every level of being, very, very deeply. And they want you to know that that's sort of like, an incredible follow-up to this investigative, detective, intellectual, beautiful work that you've been doing on yourself. The understanding that you've been coming to is great. It's relevant. It's empowering. It's helping to develop and cultivate your wisdom. And now connecting with pure source energy and practicing just reaching out to it every single night. This is a miracle that spreads energy through all areas of life in a way that feels really transcendent. They are saying the word forgiveness, and I'm looking at the cards here, and your first card is the view from above card, a view from above, which is a card that says basically what we're guiding you to do through this meditative practice, and by the angels, again, is essentially intervening in your psyche and in your life and helping to move things through you, move your consciousness through you. What they're doing is helping you to see from the bird's eye view. Instead of seeing from the state of being the traumatized person, of being inside, victimization or fear or any other complication from this, instead you get to see it as maybe an outside observer, where we start to detach from the part of us that wants to really strongly defend ourselves in patterned ways from, potentially receiving more fear from someone else, or from another situation. So you're getting the bigger picture right now, and that's incredible. Keep practicing going into that place. And as you go into that place, hold just this prayer, just this intention in your heart. And this is a journey. I forgive. Forgiveness doesn't always work like a light switch where we say, I forgive you, or I forgive the trauma, and then all of a sudden it's all gone and we're reprogrammed. It's more of a journey for most of us, where the more we practice it, the more we invite it in, the more powerfully it works in every area of life and starts to slowly change the way that we look at things. And now the second thing that the angels want you to know is that the more that you sort of practice this spiritual aspect, because you've been doing great at the intellectual and emotional aspect, the more that you practice this spiritual aspect of reversing and clearing and healing the trauma, you'll notice that you've got these little victories that will be coming through, these moments of peace, or these aha moments of realization and greater understanding of yourself, or these moments where you might really feel a piece of forgiveness actually resonate in your heart. When you get those moments in, the angels invite you to practice gratitude. And you can do this by something as simple as repeating a prayer. They could be, words from a traditional prayer, or something that you make up, an affirmation that you make up that just resonates with you. But repeat some kind of prayer from a place of gladness, from delight, from happiness, because the gratitude, what it does, isn't about what we're giving to God or to Source or to the angels. They don't need anything from us. It's about us essentially magnifying the energy of that victory that we made, magnifying the energy of us now being in a state of love and purification from the, challenge or difficulty that we had experienced, and making that the thing that holds greater real estate than in our psyche, in our body, in our soul, everywhere. So that is what they will do with you. And you've got many, many angels who guide you on this path. And they're simply saying, call on all of us. We're going to introduce ourselves to you one by one and develop a relationship with you.
Oh, wow. That just really, really resonates. I've been getting the message that I need to get out of my head and into my body. And so the sense of moving away from the analytic, intellectual work, and really just opening up to feeling and connecting with Source, that just really, really resonates. And I have actually just started a regular evening practice of yoga nidra, which is, intended to deeply heal. And so I think I can tack that onto this or integrate that into this, and I think that will be a really good fit for my continued healing.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're already so on the right track. This is exactly where you're meant to be. And it's amazing. Like it's just the angels are showing us that it's sort of almost meant to be, that you went from taking more of that mental approach to now the heart-based feeling and body-based approach. The yoga nidra feels amazing. As soon as you said that, I felt a million lights go on. So you're really on the right track. And then just incorporate more of the maybe meditative or prayer or angel stuff into that. And I am certain that you're going to experience some amazing things, and that this will affect your whole life, your relationship with everyone and everything, and it will be good, my dear.
Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Sarah. I deeply, deeply appreciate this so much. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much for calling in, Beth, and my prayers are going with you on this journey.
Thank you. Take good care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So we are now at the end of our time for today. We tacked on a little bit extra time since we had some tech issues going on a little earlier. But I just wanted you to know that it's been such an honor to connect with you all. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. I will, of course, be back on Bring Me to Life Radio again next week on Thursday, September 26th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern for Angel Hour, where we will be devoting a whole hour to giving you angel reading. So if your reading didn't, come through today, just come right back next Thursday, same time, same place, and we'll get to your reading. Also, mark your calendars for Thursday, October 17th for the next episode of Through the Eyes of the Angels, and Thursday, October 24th for the next episode of Angel Hour right here on Bring Me to Life Radio. If you'd like to listen to today's podcast again or share with a friend, you'll find it anywhere that you'd like to listen to podcasts, including Spotify and so forth. And I'll also share the links on my social media pages for you, so you'll be able to find it. So do keep in touch with me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and visit my website, sarahhall.com. If you'd like to contact with me and stay in touch, or to receive a personal reading, a healing, or to join one of my online courses. I love you all so much, and I can't wait to connect with you again. Bye!